I want to make this video for quite a long time. I want you to guess today which camera is which. I can say that I'm recording with the Action 5 Pro and the Action 4, but I'm not going to tell you which camera is which. Right now I'm going to call it camera A and camera B, but I'm also going to mix the footage. I'm going to record in normal color profile but also D-Log M. Exactly the same setting on both camera. White balance is set to 5500, EV is set to -0.3, and I set the sharpness to -2 and the noise reduction to -1. Exactly the same setting. These camera should perform more or less exactly the same, but I did get some people who was telling me that they was a little bit surprised that the Action 4 had better details, especially in the sky. But today it's completely white in the sky, so you shouldn't see any details at all. I just want to make this comparison because I think there's a lot of people that are thinking about upgrading, and I'm not quite sure if they get enough for the money if they upgrade from the Action 4 to the Action 5. So I think this is a great video to make, so you can decide for yourself. We're gonna do this test. I'm gonna do some sample footage. I'm gonna roll different clips, exactly the same, and I just want you to tell me. I'm gonna switch and mix the footage a little bit, so it's not like camera A is on the left side all the time and camera B is on the right side all the time. I'm gonna mix it and see, and of course I'm gonna reveal which camera is which. I'm recording now in normal color profile with both of these cameras, exactly the same sensor size, but we all know that the Action 5 Pro has a new 1/1.3 sensor. But yeah, we're gonna see. I'm gonna mix the footage and you can tell me what you think. And when you watch the footage, I want you to pay attention to details, especially also skin tones. I know that the Action 4 has sometimes adds a little bit more contrast in the image than the Action 5 Pro. It's going to be really fun to see and mix the footage, so you can tell me what you think. It's a really dull day here in Norway. It's completely white in the sky. There are some fog actually, so it's kind of nice to be out on the trails. It's not raining, so that's good. But we're gonna shoot some sample footage, and please let me know which of the camera you think are the best, and if you can spot any difference, let me down in the comments, of course. So I'm gonna shoot some mixed footage now, and you can tell me what you think. So the question is, have you figured out which camera is which? It's not easy, it isn't, and people are trying to tell you which camera is the best. But in my experience, it's all about preference and what you like. Like I said many times before, DJI are my favorite cameras. They are so good. They always function and performs really good all the time. And the Action 4 and the Action 5 Pro is probably the best cameras you can get. But I want people really to think if they need to upgrade the cameras, because it seems to be too much hype around switching camera each and every year, and so many people are buying gear they probably don't need. And that's why I buy my own camera, so I can make reviews like this and people can see for themselves. I'm not gonna try to tell anybody which camera you should buy. You buy the camera you like. That's what's most important. And the upgrades each and every year is so small and tiny that it's really difficult to spot any difference. The only difference you can see from the Action 4 and the Action 5 Pro is actually in low light. And that's something DJI has worked really hard with, to try to make the Action 5 Pro as good as possible in low light. And that's the reason. Is quite simple: to compete with the Ace Pro, which also is a fantastic camera. It is. And now they have a new camera, the Ace Pro 2. All the reviews I've seen so far, those cameras seems to be more or less the same. But the question is, have you spotted any difference? We're recording in normal mode now. We're gonna do some more sample clips and you can tell me what you think. So what do you think so far? Have I made the choice difficult for you? That's the point of this video. I'm gonna reveal which camera is which. Action 5 Pro is camera B and Action 4 is camera A. And as I said in the beginning, I'm gonna mix the footage so I don't have the footage on the same side through the video. That's the most important thing to me, so you can actually try to think which camera is which. And usually I use all my cameras, especially DJI cameras, in flat color profile, because the D-Log M profile on the Action DJI camera is so good. And so far I haven't been able to spot too much difference between the Action 4 and the Action 5 Pro. And I was actually expecting that too, because they're more or less exactly the same camera. DJI has, yes, tweaked the Action 4 Pro a little bit, and that's good. Made it a little bit better, especially in low light. And of course some hardware upgrades with a newer sensor and supposedly a chip inside the camera just to fix some of the issues it had. But like I said many times before, I do think a lot of people can just use the cameras they have, and I don't see often any reason to upgrade, especially every year, because the upgrades are so small. But it's really nice now to see all the competition on the action camera market. A lot of good cameras are launching, and with new cameras each and every year, people are tempted, of course, to upgrade. But I don't think it's necessary. I have to admit that. But it's exciting, of course, to see what the next camera will be. And it's going to be really fun to see next year what DJI GoPro and Insta360 will do. But you probably don't need to upgrade every year. So hopefully you like this test, and this can give you an indication of how good the Action 5 Pro is versus the Action 4. and maybe you guess right all the time. Like I said, I did see on my other videos where I'm using the Action 4 and the Action 5 Pro that it seems like the Action 4 is giving you more details, especially in the sky. And some people also really like the colors from the Action 4. I think it's better than the Action 5 Pro. And that could be possible, but the point is, cameras that are giving too much details that aren't there at all, what's the point of that? For me, the most natural image is the most important. And like today, it's absolutely no structures in the sky at all. So if Action 4 added something up there, that's not real. But some people like it, of course. And for me, the Action 5 Pro has been really fun. It's a good camera. The screens are fantastic, OLED. And we all know that DJI system is just more or less perfect. That doesn't mean that Insta360 is bad, not at all. Great cameras, fantastic cameras, and they are, Insta360 and DJI is probably the best manufacturer producers today of action cameras. GoPro is far behind, sadly. I have the GoPro Hero 13. But I'm gonna make a video about that camera and the reason why I'm selling it back. It's so disappointing. But hopefully this test gives you an indication how good these cameras actually are. And will you upgrade from the Action 4 to the Action 5 Pro? And can you spot any difference at all? That's the most important thing. They are both fantastic, and the battery life is amazing, the stabilization is amazing, that you have real 10-bit is also really important. And yes, DJI finally updated the Action 5 Pro with high bit rate. You get some bigger files, but that's fine, and the audio is improved and the screens are improved. And I do think that DJI will update this camera even more. And you also got HLG in the Action 5 Pro. That's also fantastic. You probably don't need it, but it's a good color profile. And the point for me making videos like this, that, like I said many times before, 95% of people are using their cameras in full auto, and that's the point also with an action camera, because it's meant for action, sport and activities, and when you hit record, just capture a good image. That's the point, and don't do too much hassle tweaking the cameras. But there are some minor things you could do, like setting the sharpness to -2, because these cameras gives too much digital look and it doesn't look nice. So I highly recommend that. And then maybe set down the noise reduction, like today, -1 and -2 on the sharpness, and experiment a little bit between D-Log and normal color profile, because DJI has a really good lot for both of these cameras. Just add it on and you don't need to do much tweaking. But of course I do recommend people to try to play with the settings and try to get the best out of the footage, the cameras, especially when you're vlogging. And I use my cameras usually in D-Log, and setting the EV compensation a little bit down because this seems to be overexposing too much, and maybe setting the white balance and also the ISO a little bit, just to give the camera a range to work from a low as possible to so high. So what do you think between the Action 5 Pro and the Action 4? Can you spot any major difference? And is this a video that gives you a wow factor, if you know what I mean? did you choose the right camera? Yeah, good test. And thank you so much for watching. Sorry about the weather in Norway, it's quite terrible. That's normal this time of year, getting closer and closer to winter, so yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, give me a thumb up and of course subscribe to my channel. I do this for you, to try to give you an indication of what you probably need and don't need. So as always, I see you in the next one. Bye.